Hey guys, back again with another reaction. This time we're reacting to Game Theory, The Tragedy of Deltarune. So let's get right into it. In three, two, one, click.
Cut to the chase. Deltarune is the prequel to Undertale,
hmm
just not in the way you think it is.
Oh, I just finished Deltarune. Like I just finished my playthrough of it. Um, Beautiful game, amazing. Like it's it's only around like 3 hours long. It's definitely not as big a project as Undertale,
Welcome to Game
but
Theory, where if Sans is Ness, then you know Lancer is gonna be Lucas. I mean, the hair is a perfect match. The
okay,
letters in both names are identical,
okay.
provided you swap out two, add one, and mix them all up.
Mm,
Theory confirmed. And now
mm-hmm.
that we've definitely proven that connection beyond a shadow of a doubt, quick announcements. First, Holiday Theory Wear is still available. So if you like
But
soft
yeah,
coats
I
and
just got finished with
sweatshirts
that.
with hoods and
It's a
different
great,
colors,
amazing
well,
game.
boy howdy, did we create something for you. Hats, coats,
It's
sweaters,
supposed to be a chapter
knee pads,
two
check them out.
eventually.
And if you order in the next couple
Toby
days,
Fox
ship it to
apparently
your
said,
address. You know the drill. Don't
like,
wait too long because the long
oh
holiday items
yeah,
sell
so
out fast. In other, quite
I
frankly,
don't like
news,
working on things longer than
you may remember earlier this week,
seven
Holida's
years.
longest running team member,
Oh,
Ronnie, took suicide. In his honor, on Monday, November 26th, we're doing a 6-hour live stream to raise money for the Brain and Behavior Research Fund, which funds scientific research that is actively looking for better treatments and potential cures for mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder. It is a fantastic cause, and obviously one that hits close to home for the Theorist family. So if you have the time to join us and potentially donate, we would be so incredibly grateful. We have a ton of special guests coming from all different corners of YouTube to be a part of this thing, so it should be a long day full of a lot of fun, all for a cause that could benefit a lot of theorists out there. So please mark it down in your calendars. November 26th, starting here on the channel at noon Pacific time, running for at least 6 hours, all for an amazing cause. All right, updates out of the way, let's figure out what's really going on in this game. In case you missed it, Deltarune came out of nowhere. One day, the Undertale Twitter account just started randomly going off about new futures and connections, and then all of a sudden, here's a link to a sketch-tastic website that totally doesn't look like it's a virus waiting to happen. But after malware checking the file twice, you load it up and lo and behold, it's all our favorite faces from 3 years ago. Alphys, Toriel, Asgore, Undyne, all on the surface. It's gotta be a continuation of Undertale, right? Well, not quite. You see, it
no.
quickly becomes apparent there's something more than a sequel here. No one knows each other. Undyne has never heard of Alphys and has both her eyes. Asgore isn't a king, he's the owner of a flower shop. ASRIEL isn't some twisted demigod out for revenge, but rather your brother who's away at college. And there's no talk of surfaces and underworlds, but rather darkners and lighteners. It's like Undertale, but not quite. Everything is just a little mixed up. Just like the letters in the name.
Deltarune,
Deltarune is an
Undertale.
anagram of Undertale. In short, it is
Should
all
switch
the
them
same
around.
pieces,
Yeah,
they're all rearranged. So
took me
what's all
like
mean? Well, with only chapter 1 released of
a
a game
lot
that,
longer than
according
it
to
should
Toby
have
Fox,
to
may
figure
take
that
up to
out. Sadly.
999 years to complete, we should probably try to figure out what the complete story of Deltarune is going to be all about, since if we don't solve it now, who knows if any of us will live to the day that it's released.
Yeah.
And once we have a grasp on what's really happening in this struggle between Lighteners and Darkners, how does it connect to Undertale? Does it
Yeah, that's what I was saying
connect
before.
at
Like
all? So
Toby
working
Fox said, it's
alongside
basically
user Win on the
probably
Game Theory
impossible
subreddit,
to
I think
actually
the
complete
two
it
of us have
unless he
figured
gets a
this
team
thing out,
together.
top
And it's
to
like
bottom,
he doesn't know
up,
how
down,
to
and
actually
sideways. Fun fact, by the way,
lead a
Mindy
team
isn't
of
just the fan
creators,
theorist
so
on
he's
the
just kind of like,
subreddit.
yeah,
The subreddit is
probably won't
also the
succeed
creator
at
of
making it
Trollface. Yeah,
complete or whatever.
Trollface. So over the last couple weeks, I have been in the presence of the OG meme lord. It's pretty fascinating, actually. The internet is a surprisingly small place. Anyway, I digress. Today we start to solve Deltarune with an interpretation that I predict will be pretty controversial. But have no fear, I plan to solve it a second and likely less controversial way in a follow-up theory in just a few days. So 2, maybe even 3 theories for
Ah,
just this one chapter. I mean, we gotta milk this thing. Like I said, it's gonna take 999 years for it to come out, so we should probably just enjoy theorizing about it now, since it might go away and we'll never see it again. The first thing we need to
yeah.
address is how this game deals with the element of choice, or more accurately, disregards the element of choice. Immediately upon starting up the game, Deltarune catches players off guard by having them create a character, imbue them with seemingly symbolic personality traits, and then
Then it
immediately
just
throw
throws it
them
away.
away, saying no one
Yep.
can choose who they are in this world. This theme of non-choice continues everywhere. In the classroom, you can't choose your project partner, you're just assigned the class bully Susie. You can't choose your dialogue options out in the hallway with Susie, with her outright telling you your choices don't matter. Then, once you two enter the dark world, Susie tells you to lead the way, and then immediately takes over. Your choice is removed. Later on in Chapter 1, you try to direct Susie in the prison hallways, and she just outright ignores you, even in battles. I mean, sure, there's a violent and non-violent way to end every confrontation in the game, but no one actually dies. They just run away. And sure, the dialogue for the ending changes slightly, but the evil king still survives, and you still get back home to rip out your heart and show off your cutlery. Chris is Yuri confirmed. Now, this all could be the
No,
theme of the game,
but
and probably is to a certain extent, that in life you do actually have to sometimes fight battles. I mean, even if you don't fight the king
Yeah.
at the end of the chapter, the conversation about having to fight him still happens. But I don't really believe that's the only reason all this is in there. I think Toby Fox included this theme so strongly in Chapter 1 to set up the audience expectations for what
Like-
Deltarune is. A normal game. It's a normal game. Remember, Toby Fox is coming off of Undertale, a game that was revolutionary in its gameplay, one that reinvented the way we see RPGs and violence in video games.
The whole
and one that
ending
was
where
built
it's
on the
like,
principle that every
ah,
decision,
Kara,
every outcome, any project that Toby
didn't see
took
that
back
coming,
have to
Mr.
contend with
Green and
audience
yellow
expectations
shirt, you
carried
know.
over from Undertale. And by telling people
That is kinda
RPG,
odd for
hey,
me.
this is a very different gameplay experience than the choice-based systems of Undertale, it
But,
helps set
like-
audience expectations.
Well, I was confused for a while because I was still thinking this was like in the future or in the past. But like, it does seem like just a completely different universe in general.
Will there be multiple endings? No. No matter what you do, the ending will be the same.
Ending will be the same.
Like that, but for some reason it feels really oppressive to say here. I think that's part of the reason why the act fight system feels so vestigial in this one. But I wanted to do it anyway because it's cool. By the way, I was really worried at first about making this. The expectations for my next work would be really high. So high that I knew that no matter what I did, I felt like people would be underwhelmed. If you played Undertale, I don't think I can make anything that makes you feel that way again. However, it's possible I can make something else. End quotes. So it feels
I mean, it was a
based
fucking
on
great
the
game.
words that while you can
Like-
play with a pacifist or aggressive strategy, you can't really
I
call
mean,
genocide since again no one is truly dying.
no,
or
Undertale,
because
but
a
it's-
cool
it's-
gameplay style rather than something
it's a
that
great
the
game.
story he's looking to tell. So with that out of the way, let's get
Has
into
a bunch
the
of like
in that same
goody
interview,
feely
Toby Fox
messages in
asked
it.
and answered this question: is this a sequel? What's going on? I'm worried if people worry too much
No.
about what it is, they might not be able to properly enjoy it. I will say that basically what you're seeing here is not the world.
It's not the world of
To rephrase
Undertale.
that, Deltarune's world is a different one, with different characters that have lived different lives. A whole new story will happen. With this information out in the world,
Those characters just so happen
thinking about alternate universes and some
to be
connections
similar.
to experimentation, but I'm not sure that's quite the right angle to go here. You see, Deltarune immediately lays its cards on the table, pun not intended. Okay, so maybe slightly intended, by revealing at the end of Chapter 1 that the main plot that we just played through was all an imaginary game. It's Alice in Wonderland. It's Dorothy in Oz. Or in this case, it's Susie and Chris in an abandoned classroom filled with toys. The Darkner world, with the Mad King and his son Lancer, isn't a real place. It's an imaginary game land populated by a deck of cards, an old stuffed cat, puzzle pieces, checkers getting king. The game hits us over the head with this revelation like a squeaky toy mallet. Oh wait, that's also a character in the Darkner world. But for further proof of the it's all imaginary angle, just look at Chris's weapon descriptions. Chris's wood sword is described as a wooden blade with a carbon-reinforced core. But if you check your inventory after returning to your hometown, suddenly you're holding a pencil, wood with carbon in the middle. The same is true with Chris's spooky sword. If that's what you have equipped when you end your journey and hop into the Dark Fountain, Chris is then left with a Halloween
It's a Halloween
in the real
pencil.
world. For even more proof, Chris's ball of accumulated junk that is also in his inventory is largely alluded to be all of the items you collected across your journey. It changes based on what's in your inventory. Attempting to throw it away will make
I did not
Chris
notice that.
shake, as though he doesn't want to give it up. Chris's internal life attachments to it, which is why it's all the more impressive that he makes the decision to let Susie become a part of it. Susie is clearly the class bully, but she's a much deeper character than what that might imply. Throughout Chapter 1, Susie is repeatedly defined by being hungry. Shortly after being introduced, we catch her eating chalk, at which point she lashes out in anger. In the dark world, she goes on to steal
What about the
eggs,
three-headed cat, though? Like, what does that represent?
Ralsei bake cakes for her, and raise funds to buy chocolates from the bake sale, which puts her initial reaction to the chalk moment into a new perspective. She's angry because someone just saw how poor she is. That's why she keeps her hair long. That's why her jeans are ripped. And that's why she's so mad all the time. She is actively pushing people away from her because she's ashamed of who she is. Notice that of all the houses you can visit during the Chapter 1 epilogue, hers isn't one.
Hers is not one of them.
It's because the reveal of her broken home life will be saved for a future chapter. So we have ourselves the quiet, introverted Chris and the misunderstood bully Susie. Once they enter the abandoned classroom looking for chalk, Chris invites Susie into her imaginary world, acting as a dungeon master of sorts, using the items found around the room and in their pockets as items and characters and weapons.
That seems weird, though.
Spur of the moment adventure either. This classroom and the dark world created within it is a place where Chris has played often. It's a detail that's easy to overlook if you don't explore the rest of the school building, but we learn that Chris's mother, Toriel, is a teacher at the school, making it very possible that Chris would often play here.
Yeah.
This was once her safe space, a place of creative freedom and happiness, a place where her and her older brother ASRIEL would play, at least until he left for college. Enter Ralsei, our third hero of light, and an anagram of the name ASRIEL. Coincidence?
ASRIEL.
You know it's not. By talking to people around the town, we get a very clear picture of the Dreemurr family backstory. At some point early in his life, Chris was adopted into this family, becoming the only human in a town full of monsters. ASRIEL, who's slightly older, is portrayed as the town's golden boy, singing in the church choir, going to dances with Caddy, picking up chicks with burger cans. The family was happy. From talking to Father Alvin at the church and the waitress at the diner,
Burger
we can
pants.
piece together that they used to attend church every Sunday, followed by a breakfast, at least until Toriel and Asgore got a divorce. As the waitress in the diner says, of course, things happened and then y'all stopped coming together. But every Sunday, you and your brother'd still come in. He'd order you a hot chocolate. You must really. Those words couldn't be more true. In the aftermath of the family's divorce, ASRIEL protected Chris, served as a loving rock of stability. But then he left too. He went to college.
Yeah.
Chris absolutely.
It's weird. It's weird to think that in
Remember,
this,
Chris has to be adopted. So he's been abandoned by his birth parents, abandoned by his
because it's
adopted
obviously a
parents,
different
and
world.
now
It's
he's
like
abandoned
more of
by his
a
brother. It's why
realistic
hot
world,
chocolate
like
is
less
so
of a
good.
magical
It
one.
brings back painful memories of missing it. If Susie is a bully because she's ashamed of being poor, Chris is brooding and emotionally removed from the world around her because she feels alone and betrayed. He's shut down emotionally for his own protection. And in a figurative and literal sense, he shut the door to that room where he used to play with ASRIEL. Which is why, when it's suddenly in front of him again and he has to enter it for supplies, he's scared. That door is both literally and symbolically an entry into Chris's most private life. And this moment of him backing away is the fear of letting himself become emotionally vulnerable again, and also of letting someone else who could hurt him in again. And this
But why
isn't
would
just
she,
speculation.
like,
Look at Ralsei.
just go
This is
along
a
with it?
character that Chris has made up as a stand-in for his brother, right? That much is pretty obvious. What isn't as obvious about this character, though, is why Chris decided to characterize his brother the way he has. Ralsei in the Dark World is young and a bit of a pushover. Chris is the leader of the group down in the Dark World, not the older brother. In fact, as Ralsei himself says, I've been waiting alone here my whole life for you two to arrive. Ralsei has no world, no history without Chris being there. Chris has created an embodiment of his brother who is incapable of leaving him. This is someone who is dependent on Chris. And why is Ralsei so young? Well,
It's a little weird when you
because
say
this
it,
is the
talk about it like
version of him
that.
Chris wants to remember, the one that played with him in the abandoned classroom, the one that didn't abandon him and his family by going to college. After the events of Chapter 1, there are 6 days before ASRIEL returns home from college. And at the end of their adventure, Susie eagerly asks to return to the Dark World adventure the following day. To me, this is setting up the chapter arc of this game, with each new chapter being a new day of this imaginary game, all leading up to the climax, the return of ASRIEL. With the reveal that ASRIEL is the Knight, the big bad of the Darkner world. Not the ideal ASRIEL that Chris has embodied in Ralsei, but the older,
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
One that runs the risk of shattering the Darkner world once and for all. Look at what we've established so far. Chris uses this game to work through her abandonment issues, especially as they regard her brother in the form of Ralsei. The biggest upheaval for her would be that the brother who returns home from college isn't the same as when he left. The fear that he is now a different person. Now look at what we know about the Knight. We're told that the Darkner world was at peace until the Knight came and corrupted the King of Spades. That he can create dark fountains, and that he's responsible for Jevil, the secret jester boss's fall to insanity, and eventually him being locked up. This all lines up with Asriel's role in Chris's life. In Ralsei's prophecy, he states that the fountains of darkness give this land form, and in a hidden, unused manual buried in the game's files, it confirms that the dark fountains give rise to Ralsei's body. In other words, they are the things that make this imaginary world made of real-life toys come to life, meaning that they have to be tied to either Chris or Asriel, the creators of this world, the storytellers. Now look at Jevil. All his dialogue speaks to how those outside of his prison cell are the ones who are locked up, and that he is the one who's free. He admits, however, that he's lonely, and that he wishes more people to be free with him. Shalom explains that Jevil, quote, started saying bizarre things that didn't completely make sense, but didn't completely not make sense either. Eventually, Jevil started viewing the world as a game, while everyone acting in it is its participants, which we know is actually true here. So Jevil is, in my estimation, the embodiment of Chris's imagination, her childhood spirit. I mean, think about it. The Darkners are toys who have literally
And then you beat 'em.
away when no one wanted to play with them anymore. And Jevil is literally and figuratively being kept separate from them because Chris no longer has that childish spirit to want to play with them. If Jevil is Chris's childish spirit, her imagination, then he would be free. He is the spirit of chaos and freedom and creativity and everything that childhood imagination means. And of course, he's lonely, since he's been shut to the side with no one to play with him ever since Asriel left. Until the day that Susie decides to join the game.
I wish there were more difficult boss fights or like battles in the game.
Directly parallels his knowledge that this whole
I mean, obviously, Jevil made up for all of that. I'll be honest, I never even beat him. My brother had to help me out with that. But like, it would have been nice to have a few more moderately like difficult battles.
But lastly, look at the Lightner prophecy. Ralsei tells us at the beginning of the game that the Lightners must destroy something called the Angel's Heaven. What? Destroying heaven made by angels? Usually those are seen as good things. It seems like it would be the opposite of what you'd want to do, until you stop and think, where else have we seen an angel in this series before? Asriel's final form in Undertale. In fact, the idea of Angel's Heaven might just be the thing that unlocks the connections between Undertale and Deltarune. Are they indeed two separate universes created by Gaster, as many believe, or are the connections something more, something deeper? More on that, the Undertale-Deltarune connection, next time, since that is a whole other theory unto itself. Make sure you subscribe to see it. In fact, I challenge you to hit that subscribe bell and comment below which Deltarune character is your favorite in the next 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, haha, fooled you. Quick reminder, Game Theory merch is still available
For sure,
right now, and you'll get it in plenty of time for the holidays. It is the softest and warmest collection of hoodies, pajama pants, and hats that you could ask for. Link is going to appear on screen right
The chalk-eating
now.
purple dino
Make
is
it
the
before they're
best
gone.
character.
Stuff is quickly selling out. I want to make sure that we're
Definitively.
not crushing anyone's holiday hoodie dreams. And finally, most
I don't care what you say.
importantly of all, remember, it's all just
I mean, Lancer,
a game theory. Thanks for watching.
he was an interesting character, but Susie was obviously the best. Ralsei second, then Chris, then everybody in town, and then Lancer. I don't know. It was an amazing game. Of course, I'm pretty sure anybody can say that the only thing wrong with it was that wish it could be longer, right? Like, just 3 hours is not enough. Of course, I already saw the Toby Fox stuff, and I know he was working on it for like years while he was developing Undertale, and like, yeah, the whole thing is probably never gonna get finished, which sucks, you know. But hopefully, we can at least get like, if it doesn't succeed, if he doesn't like end up completing it, then hopefully we can get like maybe a synopsis or like a summary or like, I don't know, maybe like a journal, a book, something about it, you know, like the full thing. And he kind of cliffhangered us in this, like well, Toby Fox and Matt Pat, they both cliffhangered us in this first part, chapter 1, all that stuff. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I guess it kind of makes it like, it feels weird because, you know, since Toby Fox said specifically, hey, don't even know if I'm going to be completing this. I don't like working on things past 7 years, so technically it would be impossible for me to really complete this within my time frame, right? It kind of makes me like, I don't expect it to get done, you know? Hopefully that expectation is wrong because I definitely want it to get done for sure. But just realistically, it probably won't. And but it seems like Matt Pat's on to something. He's usually onto stuff all the time. You know, well, that's untrue. He gets a lot of things wrong, but this seems pretty believable. You know, I mean, Toby Fox has shown that he can really get you going down one way and then turn completely left with it, right? Like, you can't really guess or even theorize about it that much because he always goes with something that nobody would expect. Most of the time. Most of the time. Yeah. The night being ASRIEL thing, like all this, I guess I should have noticed that it was like, oh, this is just like a little game they had in the closet or whatever. I just didn't want to believe that it was like, I don't know, a dream or like an imagination sequence or fake or whatever. I just really, really wanted it. I really wanted it to be real, I guess, because it's like the adventure was great, all of that stuff. Lancer, I mean, it Lance. How can Lancer be fake? That's horrible. There's so much meaningful, happy, little healthy, like feel good moments with Lancer. If he's fake, then that's like, oh. I mean, I can understand. They're in like middle school or something, right? Like, I mean, they have to be because yeah, they're in middle school. Or are they? They're in like grade school for sure, like elementary school. So their school is connected to an elementary school wing where like kids are taken care of. So I'm guessing they're middle schoolers. But Susie is tall as hell. Well, I'm as tall as hell. Anyways, um, I'm guessing it makes sense, you know, that they would imagine all this stuff and have like these crazy adventures. I just, I don't, because then again, what is the difference, right? What is the difference between a fantasy world and a fantasy world? You know, like, what's the difference between a world that's real and fantastical or a world that's imaginary and fantastical, you know? Because obviously, it doesn't matter either way. The game plays the same. The story goes the same. It's just as magical. It's just as fantasy. It's just on one end, you know, all that magic and stuff is real. It's a part of the world. On the other hand, it's make believe, but you still get to see all of it. So it doesn't really change anything. It just makes it, I don't know, I guess kind of sad right? To think that these two kids like were locked in that room just sorting out their inner trauma, bizwax and all that, just connecting. You know, I mean, it doesn't make it sad. It's like I don't know how to say it. It's heartfelt, like not particularly depressing. It's not like depressing. Obviously, it's good for both of them in a way, but it's like still it's still got that like tinge of like sadness to it, you know, that they're going through this, and it's like so much more realistic, like so much more of a real world than Undertale is, and it caught me off guard a lot when that happened. Like like when you're able to explore around the town and you meet Sans and it's just like a regular weirdo store dude. It's like, well, I mean, Sans was always a weirdo, regular store dude, technically, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, I hope Deltarune Chapter 2 comes out eventually, at some point, maybe, hopefully. I hope it succeeds, is what I'm saying. Like, even if it takes 7 years, so what? Take 7 years. I just want to be able to play another game like Undertale, because this was like Undertale. It wasn't Undertale though. Like you can tell playing it that it's not Undertale, but it's something very similar, and that style is really something I love about like Toby Fox and like his design and his games and all that stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm Afro, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.